Thank you very much. This may be the most boring part of your day, so I am looking forward to your Q&A. But I have some prepared remarks. I'll try to keep this within 15 minutes because we have some great guests. So it's a pleasure to be among you and to see so many good friends. The Police Executive Research Forum and everyone in the field of policing in America have a long-standing alliance with British policing. We have worked together for many years, and I know that my colleagues in the United States have a great respect for the work of your police authorities, which are committed to the communities you serve, working tirelessly to reduce crime and give people the kind of policing they deserve. For those of you who do not know about the Police Executive Research Forum, or PERF as it is called, we are a policing research and consulting organization. We have been around for about 30 years. Dennis O'Connor was one of the early members of PERF. We aim to identify best practices in policing, and from the beginning, PERF has increasingly sought to establish ties between American and British police executives on a variety of issues, from crime reduction to community policing to terrorism. The close alliance between American and British policing mirrors the broader connections between the United States and the UK. We have served together in armed conflicts, most recently in Iraq and Afghanistan, and before that in 2 world wars. And of course, our American legal system has its roots in English law. I have often heard American police chiefs say that much of what we do in American policing goes back to Sir Robert Peel and his revolutionary idea that the police are the public and the public are the police. That maxim summarizes everything that we have been doing over the last 20 or 30 years with community policing. So thank you for giving us that. It's an extremely interesting time for the field of policing in the UK at this moment. Of course, I'm referring to your national government's Policing the 21st Century plan. I understand that certain aspects of the plan are controversial, especially the proposal to establish elected police commissioners. But there are other elements of the plan that are understandable and that we agree with. For example, reducing bureaucracy, pushing power down to the local level, reducing micromanagement of the police from above, and trusting and empowering police professionals to rely on their own expertise, promoting involvement from local communities, and ensuring that and preventing terrorism and organized crime are national goals that must be maintained as top priorities, regardless of any changes that are made in your policing structure. So there is a lot of the intentions of this that we agree with. And many police chiefs, if they were here, would say, that's right, reduce bureaucracy, push it down, let us do things the way the people want us to do them. It's not my place to wade into your controversy about elected commissioners, other than to say that often one can agree with the goals, but differ about the proposed method to achieve those goals. What I can tell you is that the issues that you will be debating, issues like accountability, control, independence, and decision-making, are the same issues that we face in the United States. We have an extremely different model of policing in my country, but the issues we must confront are similar to what you are considering now. First, I think we can agree that a system of checks and balances is healthy for any government agency. Lord Acton's famous 1887 quote that said, "Power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely," is pertinent to structuring police agencies. So the question is how to set up a system of checks and balances that actually works to ensure that police departments are accountable and responsive and are not bogged down in bureaucracy that prevents anything from ever getting done. I don't know if you know, but the United States has more than 17,000 police agencies, each one operating under its own authority. Many of them are very small departments with only 20 or 30 officers, and we have quite a bit of variation in those 17,000 police agencies. In fact, it was because of this, the fact that there were 17,000 police agencies, that PERF was created some 30 years ago to focus mainly on the larger cities. You had to be from a city of 100,000 or more. And because the issues of larger cities are fundamentally different from smaller cities. Doesn't make it better or worse, they're just fundamentally different. To begin with, about 3,000 of our agencies are sheriff's departments, in which the top official is directly elected by his constituents or her constituents. But the lion's share of law enforcement agencies are police departments in which the top official is usually appointed by an elected mayor or a city council. So the question is, elected or appointed? What works best? Well, one might think that sheriffs are more accountable than police chiefs because they are elected by the people. But America's police chiefs would tell you absolutely not. Police chiefs in the United States are extremely accountable to entities such as Board of Police Commissioners, civilian oversight committees, federal governments, mayors. Federal governments, I'll get to that in a second. In the United States, the Federal Justice Department, in a number of cases, has taken local police departments to court in order to force them to make reforms in use of force. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Los Angeles, those cities came under consent decrees. Another element of accountability is that private citizens can bring legal action against police departments. Certainly, police chiefs are more accountable than people in other professions. The average tenure of American big city police chief is about 3 years. The most common reason that a new police chief in the United States leave their job is that a new mayor wants his own person in the job. So one of the challenges of policing major cities in America is, how do you sustain the reforms when you're changing a police chief almost every 3 years? The Police Executive Research Forum recently published a book in which 25 of our most experienced police chiefs talked about their job. The idea of the book was that these experienced chiefs could impart their collective wisdom in order to help younger, less experienced police leaders avoid the pitfalls of becoming successful chiefs. And what these 25 veteran chiefs told us was that they are constantly thinking about accountability as 3 constituencies: their mayor, city council, employees, and the public. And they said you can lose the support of one of these 3 elements and perhaps survive in your job. For example, chiefs who take over a department with a corruption or other problems requiring major reforms often shake things up. Bill Bratton, John Timoney, Chuck Ramsey, for example, they've come into organizations that needed to be changed, and they changed them. They can ruffle the feathers, and sometimes they get no confidence votes. In the United States, getting a no confidence vote is considered a badge of honor. But if the chief still has the support of his mayor and the public, a no confidence vote will probably not be fatal. But the experienced chiefs told us that if you lose 2 out of the 3 legs on the stool, you're finished. So that is the very real type of accountability. As the UK considers whether to move to a more locally driven police structure under the control of elected police commissioners, I can offer a few guiding principles that I believe are extremely important to ensuring that chief constables can continue to do a good job. First, whether in the United States or the UK, a police chief needs operational independence. Operational independence and responsibility. They're going to be held responsible, so they must be given that operational independence. In the United States, a chief may answer to and serve at the pleasure of a mayor or city council, and elected officials may have a reasonable expectation that they will work with the police chief in setting priorities and jointly making the big picture decisions about the agency's missions and goals. But that does not mean that the elected officials should interfere with the day-to-day decision making. Experienced, successful police chiefs in the United States tell us that when they agree to take the job, they have a clear understanding with their mayor about a division of responsibility, with the mayor outlining broad policy goals and a vision for the city, while the police chief maintains a level of operational independence in decision-making, tactics, and intelligence matters. In some cities in the United States, the line has been crossed, and we have seen the politicalization of appointments and promotions. If the chief is unable to reach an understanding he can live with, he declines to take the job. Second, operational independence must be tied to decisions about resources and a department's budget. Operations and budgets are often intertwined, so police chiefs must have a strong role in setting budget priorities. This has become a critically important issue in the last couple of years, as the economic crisis has forced budget cuts in most cities, driving cuts in police departments' fundings. Resources drive decision-making in policing. Currently, some police agencies in the United States are slashing funding for training, technology, special units, civilian positions, deferring the hiring. Oakland, California, laid off 100 officers. Minneapolis got away with their drug unit. Boston did away with their mounted unit. Things are happening in the United States very quickly. The situation is different in every city and every police department, and the police chief is in the best position to decide how to ration that dwindling supply of resources in what is critical to local conditions. Thus, the police chief must be given a seat at the front of the table when budget decisions are being made, and the elected officials must understand that it is in everyone's best interest to pay close attention to what their views on where to put the money. One more piece of advice about local control and local accountability. Many police chiefs in the United States try to ensure that when they agree to take the job, they will be given enough time to accomplish what they hope to achieve. So they ask for specified terms or contracts. According to a recent survey we did, roughly 1/3 of police chiefs now operate under some kind of contract. Big cities like Los Angeles, Washington, Boston, and New York have specified terms of office, 5 years usually. This is important to protect chiefs who need a measure of stability in what they do, because they frequently make unpopular decisions, and those unpopular decisions come with the territory. That's why it's very important to have that level of support and accountability at the same time. Finally, I'd like to mention one other issue that I think you must keep in mind when you discuss any shift in your policing structure that is driven at the local level, and that is the issue of terrorism. I believe in the UK, you rely heavily on your local police to develop intelligence and share information with the 43 agencies. I believe it's true in the UK that more so in the United States, while attempting to share information with 17,000 police agencies. So as you push things down, how do you keep the focus on terrorism? How do you keep that focus as a national priority?